evening, sports fans, inline hockey fans, and the family of inline all around the world. You join us live here in Roccaraso in the heart of Italy for the final of this group matches. France v Canada. Bienvenue à tous. Bienvenue à toute personne en France. And I'm hoping that you've tuned in, all my friends from Sakos and all the new friends I've met from the women's team who inspired the men earlier this week with their championship win. And that's what they can do effectively, professionally, determinedly. Watch for yet another clash of styles in tonight's epic final round of the opening salvos in the groups of the World Inline Hockey Championships in Roccaraso in Italy. The puck is about to drop and we're about to get underway. Canada has clinched their top spot, but this game certainly important for them, knowing that the French are going to come out with nothing to lose and everything to gain. And we set off. And maybe a little bit of early pressure and some early nerves there from a certain talismanic Mr. Woods. Check out my interview earlier today on World Skate TV with the captain, Dave Hammond. Much to say about inline worldwide. His head coach, Pablo Navarro, about his efforts to develop inline all over the planet. And the young debutant, Dylan Abamont, speaking well and maturely beyond his years. This is really dangerous. France coming in with precisely the kind of pace that they can. Canadians quite tightly bunched up there in defense, but they managed to absorb that. And here the French are at their best. Lightning quick and très direct. We start off with another direct attack and a direct shot. Valentin Gonzalez firing forward and putting the Canadians on the back foot early doors. Fresh boots of the lines and the Canadians that I am assured by Captain Dave Hammond is just as good as the one that left and every bit as good as the one that remains on the bench. Strength and depth in this Canadian side that has seen them clinch this group already, but I'm sure that they're going to want to send a clear message to all and sundry who are watching tonight that this tournament is all theirs. Playing for the Maple Leaf, and the Maple Leaf expects. So far it looks like France expects to score. The Canadians not really getting any run of the puck. Although I think that's about to change as we go for a ride with Chris Rockman, number 2 in terms of Canadian stats. 3 goals, 1 assist for his 4 points. Maybe the number's not quite telling the tale of precisely how much of a clinch player he's been for Canada so far in this tournament. Probably because they've been spreading that talent far and wide. Here comes the young debutant from Ontario, Canada, Abamont, spreading the French. But that attack falters not far beyond the neutral zone, such that there is one in inline hockey. Here he goes again, quick hands. The backhand is skied. Some physical pressure from the French there. Maxime Langlois plays his hockey in Spain, but now back in Gouche in France. Pretty top leagues in Europe French included, got a lot of arenas all around and they're playing in line all the time, which is precisely what the Canadians are not, which Dave was this afternoon in his interview quick to point out. Canadians going forward a little bit more strongly now, but missing their pass. This is a tremendous opportunity for France. Canada caught way on the hop here. Try that cheeky backhand pass. Oh my goodness. Machy tried a cheeky pass, but it didn't connect. And now Abemont's got an opportunity to shine. End-to-end stuff there. Canadians caught asleep. Could have been a disaster. France had golden opportunity. 3-on-1. The Canadians scrambling to get back. Need to switch all the lights on, Canada. Can't come out here on half beam. See if the big man Foster can settle things down and put it right. Tried a long pass along the boards, but that didn't come off. Gaboulet, the captain, tries to pick it up in front. Loose puck, not called. And the Canadian starter, Lane Hartwell, struggled to gather. France putting on some consistent pressure. This is the game that we maybe failed to see against some of the sides that they played. Couldn't muster enough to match Italy pound for pound as Woodsy takes one for the team. Hammond though, still pressing forward, still got the puck. Hard to dispossess Hammond, big unit. Hammond and Woodsy switching on the radar now, and Woodsy settling things down and playing with the head a little bit more. Baumgartner now weaving his way downtown. And Canada with a chance to implement their planning strategy with some time on the puck. Will they draw the French in their eagerness to play and to score? Carl Gaboulet on the forecheck hunting. Rockman says, chase me. All the Canadians now playing chase me. James Isaacs with a bit of time on the puck. And this is smart from Canada. Oh, that was a little bit more luck than virtue, I think. Speculative shot from Rockman. Probably as astounded as I was that no one else was willing to go and grab that softly little puck that was floating up for him. But he did pick it up. Long shot, not too troubling for the French keeper who starts today. Damien Neforcade. Early French determination and pace, maybe slightly being stifled there now, but they seem to open up. Here it comes. Centering pass, reasonable, but not quite enough for the Canadians, and they turn quickly. And it's a case of, here's Mateo, try and catch me. Pablo Navarro explaining earlier on today that his number one plan, strategy, coaching philosophy in terms of the way that the Canadians play is all about the possession. You can't score with what you don't have. And the Canadians will have the puck. And that is certainly a tactic that works very well against sides like the French, Italians, and a lot of the Europeans who are very Route 1 oriented. It's an exciting and dramatic game to watch. with this kind of tactical play. Certainly suited better. Oh, little mistakes though can cost you. France, 1-2. Golden opportunities there for the French with little mistakes by the Canadians. And that, as I've mentioned earlier, might be the only potential problem for Team Canada, is if just the merest drop of complacency can slip in. Oh, Hammond with good hands. Shaking, rocking and rolling to try and split a French defense. But he'll have to skate back. French passing really well now. Better than they have done in other games where they've had to go wheel to wheel with other quick teams like the Italians. But here, again, with perhaps the French having absolutely nothing to lose now, can play with a bit of freedom. And that could prove really tricky prospect for the Maple Leafs. Canadian boys all in red tonight. And the French in the blanc et bleu. French finding a little bit of space and some opportunities right in front of the Canadian keeper tonight. And peace descends in the evening here in the mountains in the heart of Italy. A cooler night, cooler day on prospect. Maybe not so fatiguing, allowing the French to really get some wheels going. And again, another little mistake. Unfortunate one from Rockman, uncharacteristic. And again, the Canadians not quite fully on high beam yet. Ooh, a little opportunity though. A little bit of puck luck there, might have done something. But the French with a slight odd man rush, back checking really hard, side netting. Benoit Ladon pushing forward. There's a shout going up. Canadians defending underneath a lot of pressure, calling it. Deflection off the net. And the French take their chance on that opportunity with mistakes just creeping into the Canadian side under hard defense. Hartwell couldn't grab a hold. Shot comes in, bounces off the chest, scrambled in front. He didn't know where it was behind him. Baumgartner couldn't clear. Herder was there too, tried to sweep it out with his backhand, but they didn't tidy up their own mess. And now the Canadians will have to ponder how they can put themselves back in when they're down by one. Still early doors, plenty of time left. Will the Canadians perhaps need to call on a superhero? The French will feel emboldened by that. And the Canadians, similar to earlier on with the Slovaks and the Italians, have to be careful, because if they get frustrated, what might be considered just friendly chip in Canada might go down here a little differently. And the French certainly know how to apply the letter of the law to their advantage. Almost certainly the Canadian deficit caused by a little lapse in concentration in their defense, while the French went one man up. As it is, We're even on the floor. Canada behind by 1. And the only goal of the match so far. They go forward. French defending pretty solidly there. Not an awful lot of chance. Woodsy and Hammond called upon to return the favour on the French quickly, but patience prevails. Canadians maybe just struggling to find their rhythm there earlier on. But well past the halfway point of this first half. French defending well, pressing the Canadians to wide. It's a good centering pass, but Hammond disrupted. Great defense by Lambert Hammond. Quite a towering figure himself, every bit the equal in height and weight to a certain Maple Leaf captain. Lots of traffic in front, trying to find a way through from out wide. Nothing doing. Some compression in the boards, and I warned you, the referees will call that, and the Canadian Brendan Baumgartner just having a word with his French compatriot to thank him for that performance. But you can't go around sitting on people if you don't expect to sit down yourself. And once again, Canadians maybe not just 100% switched on and facing some problems. Long shot. Tries to take some deflections through the forest. But will set up with the Canadians defending a power play. And defending against a 1-goal deficit early on. Baumgartner sits. Canadian defence led by Coulson Stelly. Trying to disrupt and shut down the angles of the French. He's joined by Cal Henderson, who might have just tripped up number 17, Mr. Howitz. Plays his hockey in Bordeaux. Assistant captain. Very experienced player for Les Bleus. And the Canadians maybe want to break short-handed. Coulson Stelly not content to just sit on his toes. Oh, that's dangerous, so deadly. France had set up right. Canadians were just drifting, maybe a little bit mesmerized by the puck. And they were drawn. 4:54. Baptiste Boucht. Potts with a one-timer expertly. And there's very, very little that Lane Hartwell could have done.
Goal at minute 14.
Perhaps even not being able to split himself in two would have stopped that. Okay, Pablo, what's your strategy? Not often that Canadians find themselves a little bit behind. Have you got a plan B? Maybe it's just a case of having a little shake, switching on all the lights, and maybe reaching into some dusty corners for all the tools that are available to the Canadians, and they've got plenty at their disposal. Instructions unequivocal from Navarro. The French must feel like they've got a chance to have their own version of an upset here and put themselves right back in contention. If anything else but a loss in regular time for the French happens, they will go ahead of Slovakia, even with the Slovakian win. So the French, plenty at stake here for them. And France going forward again. Seem to be testing the Canadians on D. Two-on-one here with the French, then a pile on. Puck finally spits out. Canadians certainly, I don't know, it looks to me like they're a little unsettled in their passing, a little nervous, perhaps. Certainly not certain as to why they might be. A little discussion going on here between James Isaacs and Maxime Langlois. Line one is on for the Maple Leafs. Trying to eke one back before the end of this half. France slurping up every little scrap. That's a great pass. A split, took that puck wide. And Maxime Langlois, the Garge man, plays his hockey in Spain. It's back in France. And the time on the puck that he's getting with the consistency of their play is finally showing. Having to win against the Slovaks in penalty shootout. Team Canada being caught asleep here. And perhaps that might have always been the danger, that knowing that they'd already done enough to put themselves in contention at the top of this group, wouldn't come out with what they needed to start with at this stage. And the French getting all up in the backyard, kicking over the barbecues and kicking holes in the fence. Canadians failing to tie up all their garbage, and they should know that better. Foster now. Canadians finding themselves in some positions. Woodsy trying to find a parking spot in front. Baumgartner, shot, deflected, still loose. Rogman takes a dive, but can't even poke check it in. And although there's good space and shape in terms of their attack, the Canadians just don't feel dangerous, don't feel like they're really troubling a certain Monsieur Lafourcade. And Damien remains rested in between the pipes for Les Bleus. Side netting, just a little wide. Failing to pick up again, and then those French missiles. Oh, that was a little bit unlucky, to be fair. Puck luck certainly not favoring the Canadians, and I can see that Rockman is breathing heavy as he tries to play chase. Now who's chasing who? The tail is on the other pants.
Last 2 minutes of
Rockman, whose stats do not tell the tale of how skillful he is, can sense his frustration as he breathes heavy and tries to figure out a way to dispossess these feisty Frenchies. Baptiste loses the puck right in front in choice positions. Capitalized mistake. The Ontario boy, now a man, scores for the Maple Leafs. And Dylan Abamont gets to go home, rightly a hero for stopping the rot in the dying deaths of this first half. And Canada finally gets something on the board. Will this switch them on? He wants it now, taking the face-off right away. Flicks it forward. Cole Sonstelli chasing. Now Abamont. What can he do when he's on his own? He's got the hands for it. Henderson at the back. Now applying sense and sensibility. There he goes, quick hands. Pass was intercepted pretty expertly by Benoit Ladon. He's the second in the French team statistically. 1 goal and 1 assist and 2 points. Only behind the other assistant, Théo Fontanille. France lost to Italy 4-1. Just turn up for the books because they can play like this. They beat Slovakia in a penalty shootout, and the Slovakians were hard done by there. The frustration, the effort for the Canadians, trying to drive forward, causing Brian Foster to get into the mix. And the meat grinder in front of Damien Lafourcade. Top line out, and only seconds left in this first half. Someone's going to have to do something pretty extra special. That is Mr. Wood's job after all. Got a problem with the clock though. I just noticed that there's a definite issue with the clock in the stadium. And the ref's going to have to pull it. And then some shoulder-to-shoulder discussion. Perhaps about some of the lively and interesting fashions available here in the shops in the delightful little ski resort of Roccaraso. Brendan Baumgartner having a little chinny chat with the captain, Gavile. Captain of Team France, playing in Villeneuve for his club. Well, they decide against doing anything to the clock because it really was seconds left anyway. And so the mistake is just wiped. And we can see the imbalance. Not what the Canadians expected, but exactly what the French hoped. Les Bleus come out fighting. And they win the first half. 3-1. Making chances from all kinds of angles. Canadians always organized and smart going forward, but never really threatening, not properly. And the times that they did look dangerous is when, rather than as a group, individually, someone really stretched themselves to pull out a moment of brilliance. Let it be none other than the young but mature gentleman that I spoke to only this afternoon. And a charming young man he was, number 77, Dylan Abamont, doing the Maple Leafs proud and stopping the rot. The Canadians are going to have to do something different. Pull up more than just one board in the deck if they're going to stop the rot of this game. If that's not a metaphor too far, hold on tight, because I'm just getting warmed up. Canada's record in the championship so far beats Slovakia 6-3. Eventually at a canter, as we see the young man there, Abamont, celebrating. Superbly picking up on that mistake, doing enough to disrupt it, and then making the difference. It's just a matter of figuring out now who's got the will in this second half. Canada have certainly got the talent and the chops, but they're going to have to get all pistons pumping. France already on full throttle, and we're underway in the second half in the final match of the preliminary rounds, determining the positions. Canadians already clinched first place, but unquestionably want to send a message, and they won't want to squander an opportunity here to really push themselves and play well. And Woodsy starting to do what he does really well and push down this lane to try and offset and off-put any French defenders and pot one in and earn his paychecks. Quiet in the game so far. I'm reasonably certain that that's about to change. A little bit of argy-bargy going on off the puck. The referee's hands up, so I didn't see it. I was watching the breakout. But I knew that there's going to be some tension. And the French will have to absorb some of the pressure from the Canadians as a result of a mistake on their part. And I'll look forward to the replay to see exactly what went on there. So Canada have got 5 in the out. They're going to have to just keep it tighter than that if they're really going to exploit it certainly want to start this half off right and get right back into the game. That ain't it. Brendan Baumgartner there, shaking his head, maybe not best pleased with that pass. Looks to me after the replay there that Theo Faucherand just being a little unlucky in crossing signals in traffic.
Penalty at minute 1:36 of second period. 2 minutes to number 3 of Team France for interference.
Lafourcade not panicking too much. Canadians failing to really make a dangerous as impression as they should be. Shot from out wide, sneaky on the floor. Doesn't make it through. Hammond passing tightly at the top with Baumgartner. Hammond might have liked to unload that, but just went to his feet instead of his stick. Passing just a little bit scrappy here. Could be tighter. Oh, Hammond maybe saw the spot, but Lafourcade shut the door too quickly. Still plenty. Oh my goodness, to say that 10 times fast. Still plenty of penalty left. Canadians just need to sharpen their pencils a bit here. Let's see Baumgartner with Woods. Getting a little space with the wheels going. Woods and Hammond. Slap shot. Went wide. Off the boards and back into play. Woodsy, Hammond has got space. Wasn't quick enough. Maybe just hesitated a fraction of a second too long. Maybe a more lit up Hammond might have just zipped that right away, but there was the gap there. The barn doors were open. French really defending well, on their toes. Stick handling war there. And Gabile won, and he goes forward short-handed. Tricky little bouncing puck there. Lane Hartwell has to do a bit. And the penalty and the power play is over. And the French go back to full strength. And the Canadians, again, not retaining the possession. And then having to back check fiercely. And forced to go physical. Pushing and shoving, the order of the day for the Canadians when they're on the back foot. Haven't really seen much of a more traditional Canadian plan here in place. French are absolutely buzzing around them and not letting them settle. Face-off wins would be an ideal starter for 10 if they could do it. And again, France with the puck. Canadians trying to box out. France sending someone in deep there. Glover will go chase. He's not going to wait. Didn't pay off. French really seem to have an awful lot of options. Now Cole will go and try and fetch it. And then the debutant, determined to really make his mark on this Canadian side. Abamont finally picks it up, sticks it back. And the Canadians have an opportunity to play. Look at this French forecheck though. Hungry. Good hands. There you go. And this is a nice little bit of hustle by the Canadians in the cycle. Hands again. Abamont loves to hold on to it for ages. Maybe a little bit far back there. Kyle Henderson could have put a little bit more pressure on the French and avoid this kind of mistake, but did well to fix it. This is dangerous from Canada. Nothing doing though. That's a bit better. But is it enough? Keep in touch with all of the action right across all of the preliminary rounds. All completed today, but for this remaining decision. The French having the run of it so far. With 13.5 minutes, is plenty of time for Canada to get back in it. They can only do that if they do something to light up. They pick that puck up out of all the mess. Doesn't fall for them well though, and the French break free. Here's some good back checking though. Brian Foster getting a chance to get his wheels running and the hands going. And a little bit of momentum there from Woodsy. What? Hang on. That was a bit of a tricky one. People weren't paying attention. And that's an interesting call. It's a really interesting call because it was Woodsy himself who knocked the net off its moorings, but there was no whistle, and the Canadians picked up on it quickly. I was certainly just waiting for the whistle, but and just assumed that it would come. So Foster takes the shot. Woodsy knocks the net off, slides it forward. The heavy bits of kit, these things, no moorings as they, strictly speaking, as they say. So Woodsy, maybe listening for the whistle there, never came, and so they potted. And that's a controversial call. But the two refs out there know the letter of the law to its infinite detail. In fact, the chap now discussing it very precisely with the French head coach told me only just last night, very specifically, he's read that book over and over and over again. Super experienced. And he knows exactly how the rules are applied and how to apply them.
Hey, who's scored?
And so it becomes official. And seemingly out of nowhere, Canada pick up a little bit of luck in some confusion from the French. And boy, don't they need it. Will that be the ticket that admits them into Win City? Still got another goal to get, even to draw. Again, just little mistakes creeping in. Let's see if Isaacs can get rid effectively. And it's certainly the reason that the Canadians are struggling is because the French are all over them. Super pressure on the forecheck. Great French attack. Here's a bit of a loose puck. Can Herder pick it up? decidedly their biggest weapon, the Canadians, is their possession, and it's absolutely not getting a bit of it. Not enough of it. Goals based on mistakes. Well, you might be able to satisfy a little hunger, but you wouldn't be able to dine out on that for long. And frustration from both sides now after that. Seeing the body used as a weapon included. There's all kinds of scraps going on here. Physical, slashing, tic-tac-toe, little knocks, love taps, lots of conversations. Baptiste Boschut just warning the Canadians that they can drop a shoulder or two every now and again. Marius Gouin. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Unperturbable. Great save. Hartwell. And now the Canadians being compressed. And the referee's letting it go with the run of play. Little push there from behind, but it was too momentum. Oh, look at that. It spits out for the French. Hartwell. With a super effort in the save. Stick, foot, knee, leg, arm, head, chin, shoulder. There's an anatomy lesson going on out here. Full body hockey. Can Woodsy pick this up? Just a little bit behind him. Oh, almost outpaced himself. And again, little mistakes in the Canadian breakout while the French buzz around them like hornets. Once again, the Canadians go chasing dispossessed. Woodsy did enough there. Couldn't pick up his own scraps. France go forward again. Dangerous shot. French there with a potential pickup. And Hammond settles the score. He wants them out. Calling the ball there, Hammond saying, let's get out of here. Look at the French forecheck. Look at this forecheck. Almost inside the circles. Hammond. Trying to go route one. He can do it when he wants. Puck maybe just running a little bit away from him there. Wants to go forward, doesn't want to send it back. He's had enough now. He's going for a long walk. It's a big hike for Hammond. And he knows how to wind the clock up. And ding dong, the clock strikes one, and it's one for the captain. And the brain is back. Took the keeper all the way out of position. Way around, way too far out of the goal. And gave Hammond the golden opportunity to pot it all the way around.
Goal at minute 10.
And that's the kind of experience that you need to rely on. And Canada do what they need to do by hook or by crook or by captain. And they settle to even the score at 3-all. 9 minutes left to play. Still more to do for them. Interesting permutations for the French. Anything else for the French other than a regular time loss? And they will go up ahead of Slovakia. lively figure of Abamont back on the pitch now. Oh, there's a little bit of mistake. French not seeing that the Canadians were still lurking. What can he do? Oh, the pass doesn't quite come off. Picks up his own scraps and then passes to Abamont. Rockman just couldn't collect it enough to make it good. They'll have another chance here. The cheeky spit up the boards. Doesn't work. Long shot. Tests Hartwell. Baptiste Bouchut. Part of this constant attacking force of the French, sniffing their opportunity against the Canadians here and disrupting their game, where the Canadians have spent so much time disrupting everybody else's. Oh, the pressure, the pressure, the pressure. It's always on. Farmer just refuses to let the Canadians get out of their own yard. And Hammond comes back to collect that. Good pass off the boards. There's the cross. Woodsy at pace. Disrupted. Good defense. And Walladon. And again, a little bit of niggledy-piggledy going on. And for sure, Woodsy will feel like he was taken out there when he was whipping around. Certainly able to go wheel for wheel. Someone in their excitement leaning on the go music button. And Hammond absolutely directing traffic here. Talking to the bench about a shopping list. Things he wants to do tomorrow afternoon in town. He's got 100 years of sitting. Oh, the Canadians, right? They've got a tactic here. They've got a plan. Hope the referees have been practicing their shoulder presses. Their arms are going to be up for a while on this form. One from the back sheets of the playbook. But it's smart. It's a hockey brain that says that the game here is to draw France out. But the French know the game too. Hammond shouting instructions across this vast, enormous European 30 by 60 pitch. Sort of boring statistic that I don't have at my fingertips but might be interesting is how many tiles does it take? Send your guesses to me. How many tiles are in this size of an arena? Closest wins a prize of my choosing. Send your suggestions to Pete Wirt, W-I-R-T, at Ion Inline on Twitter. And although a little bit of a change of pace here might feel like a different gear altogether to some of the stuff we've been seeing pretty much throughout these preliminary rounds, end-to-end and electric stuff, this is a much more tactical game of chess being played. And it's up to the French to go and get it, you know, if they want it, and they certainly have throughout this entire match with everything to play for them. They're going to keep hunting And I'll be sure and let you know what it feels like for these refs to have their shoulders in that position for this long. Canadians still gathered. Oh, still collected. Can Hammond let rip? He's not going to do anything unless it's a perfect chance. I don't know why I'm so concerned about the ref's shoulders. If they do go for a drink tonight, they'll be drinking with the other hand because they won't have any blood left in the one that's still raised. Oh, is this the touch that finally ends the stalemate? And the Canadians, well, cleverly have won themselves 2 minutes of power play with only 3 minutes left in the game. And the French, despite all of their efforts and tremendous determination and speed and clarity and vision in most of this match against the run of play, I say to you, the Canadians now look the more likely. It's not a done deal yet. They've got to do it. And so far, it seems like the Canadian side have been hiding their lights under a bushel. As Pablo Navarro said this afternoon, the Maple Leaf expects. Strategy on. Looking to Hammond and Baumgartner for specific instructions on how they're going to play this power play. Hammond for sure is going to want to occupy that position in the face-off circle. And punch one through all the feathers of Le Coq Sportif. The French must feel a little hard done by, coming a cropper with a strange but correct interpretation of the rules regarding the moorings of the net, allowing the Canadians to sneak back into this game where they almost had no business. And there's Hammond in his familiar position in a direct line between me and the French keeper. That shot had nothing on it, it was going wide anyway. The French recover, really good at 50-50s. I would say so far the better of the two sides, certainly in picking up scraps. Oh, but look at this effort, tremendous. Brendan Baumgartner doing all the work, even with the extra man. Hammond just waiting patiently for it. Wants that space to let rip. Him and Woodsy will play the bait and switch.
Last 2 minutes of second period.
Couldn't have said it better myself. 2 minutes only to go. Oh no, and an unlucky trip there. Woodsy being just caught a little bit sloppy. Wasn't even looking. And what must have seemed like a golden opportunity in the advantage disappears. Maxime Langlois hesitant at the bench. A little early taster of what an overtime period might look like with a 3-on-3 here. Who's got the legs for it? Is it Brendan? He goes forward. All guts, all glory. But the puck goes high. And he's got to fish it back out. Dylan Abamon. the Roadrunner. And the French may be happy to kill it, to take it to more 3-on-3. Abema. What kind of gas has he got in the tank? The French will go to 4 on with a minute left. But maybe a little bit of tit for tat here. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, and the French are just cooking the rest of the second half off, leaving us inevitably to roll into what they might fancy as a better chance for them with a 3-on-3 in an overtime period. Or will they just set the trap with a little bit of bait here? No Canadians biting. Will they set the trap and try and spring it with only seconds left? Possibly here. Lambert Ramon, shot from out wide, deflection, and that'll run the clock down. And we will go, perhaps a little unexpectedly, to an overtime. Sudden death with 3-on-3. The final game of the final round of the opening preliminary group matches in the Inline Hockey World Championships from World Skate in Roccaraso, in the heart of Italy. I'm Pete Wirt, and I'm thrilled to be here and helping World Skate bring you guys this outstanding display of talent and achievement from these national federations who, but for the hard work of everyone at World Skate, wouldn't be here at all. Woodsy there celebrating the most unlikely of goals, not his traditional way of celebrating his work. Hammond really using his head, fully wrapping around. Keeper was well out of position there. And that was just enough to keep the Canadians on form and on the flat. But the French overwhelmingly had the run to play the bulk of the first half and much of the second too, frustrating the Canadians with really great forechecking. Tough match for both of these teams. What will the even extra space in the wide open hectares of this, an interactive, detailed description of all of the stats, scores, and statistics available there. Check that out to see the playoffs and watch how they unfold. I'll be joining you guys here tomorrow live on World Skate TV to bring you all the action as it plays out. But first, the French are going to have a shot. Deflected. Well, Colson Stelly. And what does Woodsy do? Woodsy's going to go for a little stroll or sit and wait. Baumgartner. Might have an opportunity here to go route one. Smart shot. Slapped on the chest of Lafourcade. Picks it up again. Just got to be careful. That's just an all right pass, but they've got much better in them. Tries to go through a little bit of traffic there, Brandon Glover, but too much wood Rockman, Nabamont to inject a little bit of pace. Oh, and seemingly out of nowhere, the French go forward and ring the bell on the post, and with a shock shot, a certain Monsieur Langlois snipes a deadly shot. Maybe took a deflection, but it went over the glove. Hartwell will be disappointed with that. Seemed to have his eye right on it, but it went over the glove, maybe rising, achieving a little bit of lift with the amount of pace and pressure it had on it. And what looked like an innocuous shot zipped into the back of the net. And the Canadians, despite their utter dominance throughout so far, are shaken. And the French, later in the tournament than expected, but maybe better late than never, finally treat us to the display that they've always been capable of. Thank you very much, everyone, from the East Coast to the West Coast, and everyone, especially in between. My hometown of Winnipeg. I'm certainly sure that Captain Canada is watching in the peg. Hello, Mr. Hunt, Junior Huntsy, and all the Hunts, and everyone else, family and friends back home in the big country. Chapeau les Bleus. Très bien, super. Did a great job turning right back up. Better late than never, and it's a good job too. You guys played a tremendous game here. Join me again tomorrow for more live action from here at the World Skate Inline Hockey Championships in Roccaraso in Italy. I'm going to go and take a break and commiserate with the big boys and celebrate with Les Bleus. Bonsoir, bonsoir. À bientôt.